Hello, my beautiful rainbow people. Welcome back to Controversy of Zion. This is my Pot Smokers Bible program that's dedicated to the premise of if I'm not pissing you off, scaring the hell out of you, or making you shocked and awed, I'm not doing my job right. And today, unfortunately, I'm going to hopefully be scaring the crap out of all of you. This episode is called The Interplanetary Bombardment. And by the way, hello, my name is Zion. I am the prophet from the 54th chapter of the book of Isaiah in the King James Version of the Torah, or Ketuvim, the Jewish Bible. And I am here speaking on behalf of the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to be exact. And I have been charged, or I should say, I have volunteered and worked very hard to qualify to become the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, the foretold prophet of the 54th chapter of the book of Isaiah. And my job is to save a third of life on earth. Now, I'm not sure if that third consists of life forms or just humanity. But I do know that it's imperative that we have biodiversity within our arcs. And that's one of the things I'm going to be discussing today. The reason why we need arcs, or we all know what the ark is. The ark is from Noah when he gathered together those who were to survive from the ancient pre-flood days, and he put them in a boat, and they rode out the storm. Now, the ark that I'm talking about, it concerns a very different scenario. Water was the main culprit of the last destruction. This destruction is said to be fire. And the reason why it's going to be fire is because global warming has not only heated up the atmosphere, but it has released methane and carbon dioxide into the air. Methane is highly combustible. So when enough methane gets into the atmosphere, all it will take is a triggering event to cause a global conflagration. Fireball Earth is what I'm talking about. Like I said, I'm trying to scare the hell out of you on this episode. Because the prophecy of Israel and all of the temple complex prophecies around the earth all lead towards a singular event that I believe is 20 or more years away. Enough time for us to prepare. Now, in the last day and age, the Grey, the ancestors of our current God, the Grey, were in, most of them wanted to just do away with the human race, not even save them from the bombardment that was coming when they realized it was coming. So they packed up all their shit and got ready to leave to save themselves from this interplanetary bombardment that was going to happen because of a rogue planet that was an elongated elliptical orbit around the sun that comes back periodically and disturbs the Oort cloud, sends the debris from the Oort cloud to come into this inner solar system, which litters the solar system with a new batch of bombardment hit impacts. I believe that this big red spot on Jupiter was one such impact. That all of the craters that we find, I think that if the scientists look at the Earth through LiDAR and they take a good look at the dating of the field of known impacts, that they will find that they all align into a certain date system, like a decade, where they're like the planet is riddled with impacts from a certain period of time that all happened at one time. The moon is littered with them. Mars is littered with them. Jupiter has all the spots on it. There's evidence throughout the entire solar system of these periodic bombardments. And the scientists should look into that, because I believe that this Nibiru, which is the ancient name for this planet that is approaching, that Nibiru is coming. And it is already disturbing the Oort cloud. There's already astronomical evidence that backs up my theory. And my theory is based on prophecy. Now, the prophecy is from the Old Testament of the King James Version of the Bible. That is the exact interpretation that I used. So that is the one that you should go to if you want to look and see what I found. It's so according to prophecy, we have to dig into the mountains. We have to go into the caves of the earth, into the inner mountain areas, in order to be safe from this interplanetary bombardment that is on its way. Because only those who are encased in the earth, but above the ash line from the fireball, will be able to exit safely. And the world will be ashes under our feet. So I am a conservationist. I want to save biodiversity. We cannot save every single plant, animal on the planet from the bombardment, but we can take a viable sample of every known species, and we can seek out every species that we do not know within these 20 years. And we can get enough DNA, enough seeds, enough living organisms to populate our intermountain arcs with life that will perpetuate into the future. So what will happen is all of these animals that we bring into the arcs will be housed within the arc system, and they will be tamed. And they will be, with the help of God, we will alter their DNA of the predators so that they can eat grass and hay like we do, or like the rest of the animals do. Creating altered species that will allow the earth itself to provide for all of us. We can create safe arc I call them the Dwarven cities of Zion, because the one thing in the prophecy that is a complaint during the interment is that we have no room, that the population expands. So we're going to open up the mountains. We're going to work with the Grey when they arrive, after we make first contact through the Camp Out for Freedom, and we are going to use their technology to melt the rocks inside our mountains so that they will be like marble and immovable, able to withstand the bombardment, able to protect us, and to allow us open space within the mountain itself. We will, of course, use all of the resources that we mine from the mountains to make everything that we need within the mountains. And we will create Dwarven cities type structures where we have stores and streets and houses and everything within the city, so that when our population rises, we have the ability to put in another level and add more city and more until our internment is over. Because it said that we would be interned within the earth for about 10 years. So for 10 years, we will have to live inside the mountains of the earth, inside the caves of the rocks, to allow the earth time to settle down, because the interplanetary bombardment we're going to be hit so hard that it's going to change the orbit of the earth. The reason why Stonehenge and other such sites had to be created was because the Earth's orbit had been altered by the bombardment. The entire planetary system had been altered by the bombardment. So they had to readjust the seasonal calendar to adjust for the difference in planetary alignment. And we're going to have to do the same thing when we come out. So, but we will be able to do it with advanced technology, not with ancient technology like they had to, because we will be able to advance into the intergalactic space. In fact, I'm told that there will be candidates chosen from all walks of life in all human families, not, okay, ethnicities, that will be the biodiversity of life here on Earth. And these volunteers will move out into the heavens to ensure that our species always has at least two places of origin. One spacebound, or one out there and one here. So that there will always be humans to walk among the stars. But in order for us to get there ourselves, we have to get through this interplanetary bombardment that is coming. Because when it comes, it's going to be horrific. And there is already way too much methane in the atmosphere. And in 20 years, it is too late. We have crossed the tipping point. The methane is going to continually be released from now until the bombardment. And the bombardment will literally explode the hell out of it. So the Earth is going to be, I call what's coming the roller coaster ride from hell. Because when the bombardment hits, we will be slammed so hard that the Earth will rock and reel in its orbit like a drunkard. The Earth will be littered with new impact sites, which will quickly be covered over by ash from the fallout from the firestorm. Then the Earth will have to settle into a new orbit, reestablish equilibrium, and then the dust will settle. And plants and animals or that are deep enough into the earth, like moles will be able to burrow through. And there are species of life that will be able to come out and start life again. And we will help, the gray will help that. It's not just the gray, it's all 12 of the species will help. They will collect samples from us here on Earth during the 20 years. So the Intermountain arcs will be filled with life, the biodiversity of life on Earth, and an equal amount of biodiversity will be taken into the heavens to be given shelter there to ensure that we survive. Some of that material will be seeded back into the earth once the ash settles, so that the gray and the 12 species will jumpstart the evolutionary process that will create an atmosphere, and they will be ensuring that that atmosphere is equivalent to our necessary atmosphere. When we come back to the surface, we will find trees and we will find plants and we will find biodiversity waiting for us, because the gray will plant it as soon as the ash settles and there's enough sunlight to produce living things. So our future is secure. We just have to trust the gods of the Bible. And they've asked me to speak on their behalf. I am the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, the prophet from the 54th chapter of the book of Isaiah. I've come to save us from an interplanetary bombardment that's about 20 years out. So may the Great watch over us, guide us, protect us, and keep us all from harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light the unicorn way. find your joy and pursue it when we get to Camp Zion. So, if you use drugs, stay happy and high. You have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know. I wrote 2 books about it. I am the prophet Zion, and I've come to save us all from ourselves. Join me. I'm going to say later now, because I never say goodbye.